Dear friends out in YouTube land, this is TwoGunTerry, and welcome back to another episode of TwoGunTerry and Friends.
Are you ready?
Alright, so with that basic introduction to the gun, let's go ahead and take it apart and I'll show you what the insides look like. The first thing that I want to show you is I believe it's made by Dawson Precision, the toolless guide rod. To open this up, you just pull the slide back like I did. There's a little button here that you push, and you just release the back of the gun. It holds the guide rod out in position, so you can go ahead and take it down from here. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to locate this little moon cut, like a half circle right about here, and the goal is to line up your slide lock with that notch and push it out. Just to make a note that there are two notches there. One is to hold the slide back, your slide lock, and the other one is to take the gun down, to take it apart, and to pull this slide lock out. So go ahead and take that right out and set it over here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my racker. So it comes right out. There's a couple of detents and ball bearings in there, or detents and springs that hold this in position. A couple little dimples on the bottom that hold it right on there. And it's, ambidextrous. You can make it right-handed or left-handed, up to you, whatever you prefer. It just goes in either way. But I'm going to take that out so that it will clear the sight mount. And then we just slide the whole thing forward. And that takes it down to this part here. We'll set that off to the side for just a second, and let's focus on the barrel. Forgive me, the gun's a little dirty because I was just shooting some practice in a match recently, and haven't cleaned the gun yet. I wiped it off a little bit, but it's good enough to show you what we're doing here. So let's go ahead and take that guide rod out. Comes right out. You have to have the lug, whatever this thing is called, not a lug, lug ring. I'm not sure what that's called, but you have to have that up and out of the way, and then it'll come right out. And then the last step is to just push up on the bottom of the chamber, the barrel here. Push up on it, and then it just slides right out the gun. One more time. So right now it's locked in there because it's in battery, if you will. But if I push it up, it's out of battery, and then I want to drop this link down and push forward. And you have to have that down so it'll clear the opening here, and out it comes. And that's it, just like that. Just these couple of parts. And then of course we have the grip for the gun. Yeah, it's filthy. But there you go. That's it. It's that easy, that fast, a few seconds. It's not as easy as a Glock. Click, 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 boom. But it's not too much harder than that. And it's certainly easier than using a bushing wrench on a regular 1911 or some of the 2011s, or they have that little pin that you have to push in. And I guess you can't see it from here, but you push in the front to hold the guide, to lock the guide rod back. You get a little pin through there to hold this back. You don't have to do that here because this Dawson Precision toolless guide rod is brilliant, genius. So, and it works great. Oh, one of the other upgrades I do have that I can't show you, it's inside the, actually it's inside here, is the extractor. And I have a Millennium Customs, or Aftech, an Aftech extractor. The Aftech extractor, the difference between the Aftech extractor and a regular extractor is about yay long, and sometimes you have to bend it one way or the other to tune it so that it grabs the back of the shell casing, the empty spent casing, so it grabs it and pulls it out and then throws it away, or throws it out of the gun. Whereas with the Aftech extractor, instead of bending it, you have little springs and another piece of metal that automatically does that for you. It automatically gets just the right grip on the shell casing, so to extract it out and then eject it out of the gun. So that's the only other thing I put in here. I don't know if I needed it or not. Early on, I did have some extractor problems, stove piping, etc. But it was with factory ammo, not the match ammo that I make, and frankly, I didn't know what I was doing at that time. I didn't even know you had to adjust your extractor every now and then. So I bought the Aftech because I happen to be a member of Palmer Shooting Center in Lake Worth, Florida, and that's where Derek from Millennium Customs, he owns that shop, and he's a gunsmith down there, and he invented the Aftech extractor, and I was just honored to put it in one of my guns. So that's why we went that way. Okay, so let's put this thing back together again, and just take a little bit better look at this barrel. It's a real thick wall. I'm sorry it's so filthy, but the wall, you can see the chamber walls from here to here. The thickness of the wall itself is very thick to handle major loads over and over and over and over, tens and tens of thousands of major loads through here. A major load, for those of you that don't know, when you make your own ammo, in order to have the compensator work correctly, you need to add quite a bit more gunpowder. If you double the gunpowder, you don't get double the power. You get maybe 3 or 4 times the power of the same load in just that single amount of gunpowder, whatever that might be. So you need a very thick-walled chamber to handle that extra PSI from the gas pressure created by that extra gunpowder. And then what I just noticed just now is it gets thicker up in here. That's interesting to me. It gets thicker up in there. I guess that has to do with the lockup and the way that it fits in the front of the slide. That has to be tight. So when the gun locks up, you shoot straight. Very critical to shooting. Let me show you what I'm talking about. When you put this in and the gun goes into battery, meaning that this comes back and the chamber comes up so that it can't move front or back, you want a tight fit up front from the barrel right here. You want this tight with the wall, not too tight so that the gun jams every time, but you want it very, very tight so that it shoots accurately. And then to hold everything in place, you want it to lock up in the back, which is what this little lug link or this link is for. There are lugs here. Let's see. These lugs right here will lock up inside the gun right here. You can see it in here. And when these two meet, the gun is considered in battery. It's locked tight, and when you fire, all the gases are going forward, and of course the recoil comes back, because for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, which is why we have recoil. But you can mitigate that by reducing the felt recoil. And that's a subject for another video, but that's all the engineering going in here. Anyway, I'm going to lubricate it a little bit. I'm using Lucas gun oil, extreme duty gun oil, and the STIs, they like to run wet, so I'll put a little bit of oil on this bad boy. I make sure I get some in my lugs there, and just up and down the whole barrel, just like that. And then I'll give another little extra squirt of oil just right here on that link pin, just so it moves freely, just like that, nice and easy. So that's it. So the barrel's ready to go in. So I'm going to put my link down, and I'm going to insert it into the slide, upside down, until I feel it lock in, and there it goes, it dropped. Now I'm going to lift my link up into position like that, and I'm going to take my guide rod, and maybe I'll put a little drop oil on there. I don't know if you need it on here or not, but I put it on there anyway. Just a wee bit, not too much. You don't want to get too sloppy. But on these guns, you want them lubricated. You want the guns to run. Yeah, you do need some oil out here. There's no question about that, because this is moving in and out of this piece here. Let's see if I can show you that. Yeah, see, it all comes apart like that. So when this is moving up and down the shaft, the rod, you want to have some lubrication in there so it'll move, and so that the spring will move on that as well. Let's see if I can get this back together again without shooting it across the room. 50-50 chance at best. Got it down. Where's my guide thingy here? Oh, right here. Okay, we're back together again. So I didn't shoot it across the room. That's good news. Okay, let's go ahead and put this in. Now there's a little notch back here. You can kind of see that notch. That goes down. You slide this in. Again, the link has to be up. Let me slide this back so you can see. The link has to be up, and I'm just sliding this in like this until it drops right in there. And everything's fit together perfectly, but again, we won't get into that right now. And we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna release this at this moment, just to hold it in position. Okay. Next thing I'm gonna put some lubricant on is on the inside rails here. Not a whole bunch, but enough. And I'll put it everywhere. And I'm getting ahead of myself on this because I'm really gonna take this gun apart and clean it, but just for the purpose of the video, I went ahead and put some oil in there. I put a little oil in this groove here, if you can see that. There's another groove here, that's what the slide rides on. And there's a couple in the back as well. There's one back here behind the safety, and there's also one on this side. So I've lubricated inside these slides. There's channels inside. I just ran a bead of oil up and down those on both sides. And we'll put one little drop right here right here. And then all we do is just put it together like this. And I'm going back. I'm pulling it back until I find that hole in the middle of that link that I showed you earlier. And then I'm just sliding in my slide. I'm going to pull it back further. I can't do it. It's hard to do it on the camera. I'm going to pull it back till I find that notch that we talked about. And it's the half circle. It's not the odd shaped notch that's put in there for to lock the slide back. It's to put the slide lock back in through that little half circle there. And let go of it. We're back together right now. The only thing I'm going to do is add my slide racking handle. Rack it. Give a couple tests. And we're back together just like that. Usually the first couple of times you rack the slide, some oil comes out the back, and I just like to wipe that off because eventually in competition that'll show up in your face or in your glasses or in your eyes. But that's it, she's ready to go. So with that, let me just quickly show you the magazines and some of the choices of magazines that you have. Put away my oil. By the way, this Lucas Extreme Duty gun oil comes with a little nozzle needle applicator, so you can put the oil exactly where you want it. I love that feature, and the oil's good. I used CLP for a long time. That's what I preferred, and that went away for some reason, and Lucas took over, and so that's what we use now. And yeah, I don't see any problem with it. It works great.